Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and the biggest Blitzwing fanboy of them all. Do not panic. This is just a random review.
Before we begin, thank you very much to Viacon Rhinox. I will not be denied a shout-out for joining the Patreon campaign. I do appreciate it, guys. I really do. The support has been crazy. It's been insane. I have had a shout-out literally every day since February 1st. You can't keep it up forever, okay? Eventually, you cannot keep the old intro down. Eventually, the old intro will be back. But I do appreciate all the people trying to avoid that. Thank you very much for helping me out. Alright, so I just did a video about all of the different gimmick toys and all the different lines from the new Rise of the Beast movie that I could possibly dig up. However, I kind of glossed over the mainline figures, which are an interesting beast, excuse the pun, in and of themselves, since they are very much their own style of deluxe and Voyager toy. So I thought, let's demonstrate that by reviewing one of the ones that I showed off but didn't really go over, and that would be Rhinox. And this one, you know, it's appropriate for the shout out, right? So, as we can see, Voyager class Rhino. This is the third time we've gotten a Voyager Rhino, with a fourth one on the way thanks to Studio Series. Yeah, he is mostly done in this brown plastic, very flat, very, very matte kind of finish, which is appropriate for a Rhino. Nothing arguing there. You're going to see some of the gray plastic from the robot mode poking through here and there, but in this case, that's perfectly fine because of the aesthetic they have gone to, which is far more, imitating the Rhino, not necessarily like completely covering the fact that he's a robot. You still got lots of heavy details in there, almost like a Transmetal 2, with like a lot of the exposed circuitry on the head, for instance. I actually kind of like the chains hanging out of the shoulders. It doesn't serve a purpose, it's just there for aesthetic, but I mean, Rhinox has been known for chain guns since 1996. It took us this long to add chains to his actual design. You can also see pistons in there. You can see a lot of interesting gaps there, almost like a rib cage or just like a metal structure that isn't quite filled out yet. I mean, yeah, like he's got a lot of little detail going on, lots of sculpted mechanical parts that actually look really, really cool. Yeah, so it's interesting. So it's kind of like Generations design and transformation aesthetic, but we are dealing with something that is far more akin to like the movie aesthetic at the same time. It's an interesting little aesthetic mix. The one aesthetic about the Rhino mode that I'm not terribly into is the fact that it is very boxy. The natural shape in the back is gone due to how this toy is going to transform. I think that's ultimately just like a small annoyance. Yes, it would have been nice if his butt was more rounded. These are the things I'm saying on camera in 2023. However, it is a nice looking Rhino mode besides that, and yeah, I think because we're going for this half mechanical aesthetic of it, it can get away with a little bit of a weird shape to the body. If we want to make the body shape even weirder, we can accessorize, because he does come with his signature chain guns of doom. I like that no matter what the Rhinox release is, even if it's movie, we still have the traditional chain guns. They plug into the shoulders of the beast mode, and yes, they do spin a little bit. They're not pinned in, it's a mushroom peg, but they still spin decently enough. They'll spin better in robot mode when his big shoulders aren't in the way. But yeah, I actually really like the fact that they're pretty much just the Beast Wars chain gun, complete with the little useless spike balls that interrupt the buzzsaws. It's just nice to see him again. It's always nice to see that Rhinox's signature weapon carries through no matter what universe he is in. So that's your essential rundown of the Beast mode. There's not a whole lot else you can do with it. There's no real posability in this mode. The mouth does open, so you can do that. You can blah if you want to blah. But yeah, let's try to transform this guy, and we will see exactly what we're dealing with the toy overall. I'm trying to remember how to transform him. We're going to open up the sides like so. This is all leg. This is all leg. I'm going to extend all that out and then split this open. Alright, this whole assembly comes forward. I got to flip that beast leg in like so. Well, double hinge this up, clip it into place, fold the foot down, toes come out, and then there we go. Fold the big rhino shell in. Let's do it again on the other side so you can see what's going on one more time. There goes the rhino leg. Here comes the robot foot. Toesies, and then close it up. Alright. Nice and simple. We'll go ahead and we will clean that up a little bit more once we get into the robot proper. But for now, let's deal with the shoulders. The shoulders are on this like 90-degree axis panel. So yeah, so you see this whole assembly right here. That whole thing has to go 90 degrees toward the torso, which is kind of difficult when kind of difficult when the whole thing has to also rotate this shoulder. Hang on. Let's get the... Yeah, I gotta get some of the shell out of the way first. Okay, that's on me. The shoulder fell off its track. But don't worry, we're back on track. So, take the assembly, rotate it forward. Listen for that click. Do the same thing on this side. There. Click that into place. That's going to be where the shoulders live from now on. Now, with those out of the way, now I'm going to go ahead and rotate the arms around, rotate the legs around, rotate the waist, rotate the legs. It's early. I'm sorry. Alright, so with that out of the way, I'm going to rotate the legs like so. Robot mode fists fold out nice and easy. I'm going to bring and double hinge the entirety of the head around, and then we will rotate the robot mode head. And that's going to be Rhinox in his final robot mode. You're going to deal with some shell here in the back. Don't worry about that. You can fold up a little bit of it so it gets a little bit out of the way. But, there you go. That's the robot mode. And you know what? Yeah, not a bad transformation. It doesn't feel like a movie series transformation. It definitely feels closer to Generation style in the fact that it's just efficient and there isn't a whole lot of panel work in order to form what is going to be the robot mode. It's nice, you know? Aside from a little glitch there because I twisted something the wrong way, it's a pretty smooth and intuitive transformation. Doesn't do anything overly complicated and, you know, just gets in and out and is really good at what it does. Now, the robot mode. So, the robot mode is, strangely enough for a movie toy, exactly what I would expect of a Rhinox figure. It's big, hefty, wide-shouldered, very powerful looking, and yeah, like the Rhino head just hangs out as a backpack. It's pretty much exactly what you'd think of a Rhinox toy. Yeah, like it's so close to just like how a normal Rhinox toy is that like it almost bothers me that this could be a Generations Rhinox in the way that Rhinox has never quite been done right in Generations. But you'll notice like the chest has nothing to do with the transformation. There's where his chest comes from that they never get right. But that's just me. That's just me. Maybe one day it'll be retooled into a normal Rhinox. Let me take a close-up of the head, as we always do. And the movie Rhinox design has always been interesting to me because every design seems to actually be closer to how he looked in Beast Wars. There's no embellishment. There's no remodeling like they did on Cheetor's head. I mean, it just straight up looks like Rhinox with a different set of details. Everything that's I would expect is there. You know, Outside of maybe the chin has definitely been reduced, but other than that, like, I'm looking at a Rhinox, and it's not like a shocking departure from it. Not bad. Not bad. Now, I will admit, the toy itself, while I do find it functionally fun, is kind of drab to look at. The brown really doesn't give away, and doesn't really give way to any extra color. Yeah, there's a little bit of gray in the joints, which kind of breaks the brown up a little bit, and you got a little bit of silver in the midsection and the arms. And the detailing's nice, don't get me wrong. It continues that cybernetic mechanical touch from the beast mode, but for the most part, I mean, it's just kind of a dull-looking robot. He needed some splash of color. And that's just one thing that's been, like, very prevalent in some of these Rise of the Beast designs amongst the Maximals. I know they're going for more gritty, realistic animal tones, but at the same time, they are toys. They are, like, characters in and of themselves. They're gonna need some hit of color to just kind of make them more interesting to look at. Gone are the greens and golds you would normally expect of a Rhinox, and he's literally just down to 2 tones, silver and brown. And it is kind of dull, if we're going to be completely honest here, and kind of a letdown. But you know what? I know customizers are going to have a field day with it. But functionally, let's see here. So the head does rotate all the way around. It's just it's on a mushroom peg, not a ball joint, so it's just a 360. Universal shoulders with that weird like hinge up here, swivel down here, that kind of thing. The elbows do rotate. That's part of the transformation, and then you have a bend at 90 degrees. Nothing at the wrist, but we do have a waist rotation. We've got universal hips, thighs that rotate all the way around, knees that reach 90 degrees, ankles that tilt sideways, maybe a tiny bit backward and forward. So you've got plenty of posability. As far as a Generations toy goes, like, he's got, like, he can do, like, pretty much whatever pose you want. He's got all that standard articulation. So, posability, he's fine. And, yes, we can arm him again. Aside from the 5mm ports that are still available on his shoulders, you also still have his fists, of course. And, yeah, the chain guns are nice because they have pegs on both sides and inside. So he can equip the chain guns as basically like hand replacement weapons, the way they do that. And then if you want something else, yeah, the Rhino horn. The Rhino horn can come off too. Yeah, peg it. It's clipped on one side and then normal peg on another. I think in the production shots, you're just gonna like find it like resting on his shoulder like so. But if you want it as a hand weapon, it works as a hand weapon. Kind of a throwback to the Transmetal Rhinox. Kind of appropriate for the aesthetic. But yeah, that's going to be your lot. That is Rise of the Beast Mainline Rhinox. I'm going to bring in Metal Hawk. Just to show you what you've got going on here. So, size-wise, these things are just a little bit different. I will say he feels a little bit less substantial than Metal Hawk. Now, size-wise, he's not doing too bad. He's definitely a little bit smaller, though. Just a little bit shorter. So that's mostly what you're getting into with a lot of these Rise of the Beast toys is they might be just a little bit on the short side compared to other toys at the price point. But I'm actually like really happy with the engineering that I found in this figure. The only thing I can really knock it is the fact that he desperately needed another color in robot mode. But beyond that, articulation's great, engineering's good, love the weapons. It's a fun toy to transform, and frankly, of the Voyager Rhinoxes we've gotten, it's probably my favorite one, if we're judging by engineering and transformation. Yeah, hopefully this one gets a repaint at some point and gets a little bit of splash of color, because honestly, I feel like that's all it needs.
We're gonna have to get your names for the books. You, pair 1.
William Current.
Roll me a deception check.
I thought their name was Payne.
Roll a disadvantage.
Okay.
That was like the opposite of the help action there. You, Goblin.
First name D's.
Watch your tongue.